Hi, Shar. How are you? I don't know if you came on before I came on and then went off. I forgot to put my microphone on, but we still have power. I don't know if the storm stopped by you, but it stopped here just now. So we're gonna get ready here. I'm gonna finish setting some stuff up. And just in case, because I didn't mention this before, or I did mention it, but just kind of another reminder, we're going to have our hammock at our normal height. So at your hip flexors. Yay, I know. Okay, good. You left before. Hi, Elena. Hi. You made it. I can't believe you. It's like 2 a.m, isn't it? That's nuts. Even if you don't stay the whole time, I get it. But I'm so glad you showed up. Hi. And we'll start here in just a few minutes, okay? So when everybody, or at 7 o'clock, give a chance for people to jump on. I am going to kind of start talking because hopefully I do the correct thing and save the recording properly and load it onto the page. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead with a couple little tips that I just want to make sure we're aware of before starting. 2 a.m. Oh my gosh. All right. So for class number 1, so we want to make sure that our hammock is going to be at our hip flexors. So when you stand at your hammock, that it hangs here right where your hips bend. And then today for our first class, we will be kicking up the heat a little bit at a couple points, but it is about getting familiar with the movements that we are going to be doing moving forward and building on. So today, that is our main focus, is just getting familiar with the moves, with the forms, and with the words, the verbiage. We will add reps, we will add speed, and we will add more movements and exercise every week. So we're going to build on that strength and progressively grow with the classes each week. So with that being said, not one more thing. There's never one more thing with me. But another thing I want to say, because I know I often say this during class and I want to just say it before. We are wanting to focus here in our exercises on our glutes, our legs, so our thighs, our calves, our shins, and our lower core, our lower back in this series. So we will touch on a little bit of every part of our body, but our main focus is going to be using a squat series and a bridge series that we're going to build on through the next month. So we're going to really build the strength in our lower body. So with that being said, as always, when you're exercising, the muscles that you have to use to create the movements you're doing, you want to make sure you are using full intention and activating those muscles, not only going into a move, but coming out of a move. So negatives are just as important, and we're going to start off slow. So with most of our movements for today with exercise, because we want to keep a really solid activation in our muscles as we learn and get familiar, we're going to do a 4 count. Unless I say otherwise, we're going to go into our form in a 4 count. We're going to come out of it in a 4 count, and we're going to keep nice tight muscles the whole time. So I'm going to go check on, I still don't have I have to get like a main clock in here. The one I have, you can't quite see. So I'm going to go check on the clock, but we should be about 7 o'clock, and then we will get started. Make sure you have some water. We will take a couple water breaks for sure, but you can stop at any time. And we will get started off with just a couple stretches to kind of warm up our bodies and get into mode this evening. So I'll be right back. Oh, good, perfect. About 1 minute to 7. Okay. Charlotte, are you and your mom both going to be doing it? Well, you only have the one hammock right now, right? So are you guys both on tonight? Or is she there? Say hi, please, to me for Becky. Or if Becky, you're there, hello as well. So, all right, it's 7 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If anybody shows up to the live, they can join in. If not, then let's go ahead and have some fun tonight. So we're going to come over to our hammock here. We're going to start off right away with our front belt stretches. So we're going to open up our hips, our legs, our hamstrings this evening. So standing on the back side of the hammock, let's go ahead and grab onto all that hammock like a rope here. Standing right here where your hammock hangs at center, separate your hands to both sides of your hips. Push down on your fabric, rise up on your tippy toes and start to walk forward, locking the hammock here across your hip flexors or at the crease where your hips and your thighs bend and meet. So we're going to go ahead and bend here to create a right angle and then slowly release each arm out to both sides. Now stay up high on those heels, or off of those heels rather. We want to really press the balls of our feet heavy into the ground here. Lift those heels so you already feel a stretch all the way up through your hamstrings, all the way to the backs or the bottoms of your glutes here. We want to have a nice tight core. So if your belly's nice and soft, we want to draw that belly into your spine, arms out nice and wide to the side. Let's take a big breath in, roll your shoulders back, open up that heart. Now as we exhale, we're going to slowly, with control in that core and that belly and lower back, lower down towards the ground or mat. Bringing your fingertips to the ground. Keep your fingertips tented for now. Your nose or your eyes should be about in line with where your fingertips or hands are on the ground. And again, you're high up on the toes here. So let's take a big breath here. Make sure you're at full front tension. So if you can walk your toes forward a little bit further, go ahead and do that. Let's take a breath in. And on the exhale, we're going to bend our knees just about 3 to 6 inches, a little micro bend, as we weight our hip flexors or our hip creases heavy into the material. Settle here for just a breath. Take a big inhale. Now this time on the exhale, we're going to extend our knees, straightening our legs. One more big breath in, and we're going to do that again. As we exhale, bend your knees down now. Drop your belly or your chest down towards your thighs. And keep the crown of the head heavy here so that your nose is facing your knees or your shins. Take a breath, inhale. We're going to get really heavy on this exhale. Keep those heels up. Exhale and weight those hips down nice and heavy in the fabric. On the next exhale, go ahead and extend those knees, straighten those legs. We're going to take a big step back with both feet, one and then the next. Now here, what we're going to do is pedal out our heels or drop our heels down to the mat one at a time. Really start to open up, fire up those hamstrings, starting down by the heels and calves. Feeling that stretch all the way up the back of the knees as you press each heel down closer or further into the ground or mat each time you press down. Alternating legs still, so we're pedaling them out here. We're going to go back and forth about 3 more times. So dropping one heel, keep the crown of the head heavy, opposite knee bent. Rock forward, both knees straight, and drop the opposite heel here, keeping opposite knee bent. Crown of the head heavy. One more time, one full set. Rock forward, inhale. Exhale, drop the heel. Nice and heavy with your hips. Inhale, rock forward. And last time, exhale, drop that opposite heel heavy down onto the ground. We're going to roll forward again. Both heels up high, legs nice and straight. Now we're going to drop both heels down to the mat. So using those tented fingertips on the ground to leverage yourself here and push away from your fingertips. Drop those heels down into the ground or towards the ground as close as you can, really feeling those hamstrings fire up. If you can keep those knees extended, do the best you can to. If not, you can do slight rock forward and pulse down. Inhale. Either way, we're going to settle here for a breath, whether you're doing light pulses, small bend of the knee, or nice straight legs and heels pressed down, imprinting into the floor. Inhale. Oh, big exhale. Let's go ahead and roll forward, back off of those heels. Now you can go ahead and high five the mat here, big open palms onto the ground. You can either lift your toes or walk back, whatever you feel comfortable with, coming into your flying teepee. So here we want to make sure that we are hanging below our center point with our hips. Our legs are extended, toes are just hovering right over the mat here. Crown of the head is dropped, so we're looking at those knees here. Arms are stretched out and palms are glued down to the mat or to the ground here. Take a big breath in. We're going to start off with just bending our knees, drawing them in towards our chest, lifting our toes about 6 to 12 inches off the mat, and exhale, press those toes back down, straighten out the legs. One more time, inhale. We're going to squeeze those knees towards our chest, lift those legs off the mat. Exhale, drop those toes back down. One more time, big breath. This time I want you to squeeze your knees as close to your chest as you can into your chest. Now squeeze those heels up towards your glutes. Keep the crown of the head heavy here. And exhale, drop those legs, straighten them back out. Toes just lightly kiss the ground. We're going to go ahead now and turn the soles of the feet in towards one another. Keep your toes pointed. And we're going to start to do some scissor kicks or some switch kicks here. So start off nice and small, maybe kicking your legs out a little wider than your hips, and then crossing them back over one another. Here, we're going to do this for a 5 count. Allow that straddle as you open your legs to get a little wider each time. Really pressing the sides of the hips and psoas into the hammock fabric here. Maybe 2 more times. Inhale. As you exhale, open up those legs, pop them out into a nice big straddle. And cross over one more time. Exhale, pop them open. Let's go ahead and bring those toes back down and back to our teepee position. We're going to now go into our wishbones and dovetails. So from here, let's go ahead and keep your toes together. Turn the soles of the feet in. And we're going to bend our knees out nice and wide in a diamond shape with our legs and draw the heels up close to the body here. Keep your knees heavy. Try not to lift them higher than parallel to the ground. So you want to keep them at least parallel. If not, we can squeeze them even a little closer towards our body. Either way, toes stay together. This is your wishbone pose. We're going to use our hands on the mat or on the ground to start to sway our body here, right to left, keeping that nice open diamond position with the legs. As you sway right to left in the hammock, start to allow those sways to get larger with momentum. Big inhales and exhales. We're going to sway right to left a couple more times wherever you are. Exhale, inhale. And on the next exhale, just slowly start to allow your body to come back to stillness at center. Once you get back to center, go ahead and if you have to, walk those fingertips forward a little bit more so that you have those nice long extended arms. Remember, palms are flat and they're glued onto the ground here. So we're going to switch into our dovetail position. And now remember from our front belt series, this can be quite intense. So we're going to squeeze our knees together and send our toes out nice and wide into a V shape from knee to toe. And take a big breath in, breathing into that tightness or that tension, maybe even burning you're feeling here in the sides of your hips. We want to breathe that out with big exhales, big inhales. Now using those palms once again, let's start to sway right to left here. Allowing the sways to get slightly larger each time, using the momentum of your body in the hammock and the sway to open up those hips and those hip flexors. Big inhale. And on the next exhale, let's slowly make our way back to our center stillness once again. Once back at stillness, we're going to go ahead and keep those knees together for now and bring the toes together. What we're going to do is do a set of 3 switches from wishbone into dovetail. So starting off with toes together, send those knees out wide into that big open wishbone position. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, squeeze your knees together and send those toes out nice and wide for dovetail. Big breath in, squeeze those toes together, send those knees out wide for wishbone. Inhale, exhale, knees squeeze together, toes send out nice and wide. One more set. Inhale, toes together, wishbone. Exhale, knees together, toes out nice and wide for dovetail. Let's go ahead now, draw those toes back together and bring those toes back to the ground. Slowly finding your footing back on the ground. After that, start to walk forward all the way to front tension here. And when you come forward, bring your hands up to the tops of your thighs. Take a little half fold or bend here. Take a couple breaths as you allow your body to regulate. Inhale. And as you exhale here, drop the tailbone and slowly start to cat back all the way up. Let's take a step back so that we're still behind the hammock here, behind our center point. We're going to open up our legs a little farther before we start working them out with a little 180 leg stretch. So standing, like I said, behind the hammock, let's create a little shelf, a little space here with both hands holding onto that hammock. And we're going to stag our right leg. So take that right leg and we're going to throw it over the hammock here, locking the knee over the material. Reach up nice and high on your hammock and you're going to take a hop so that your standing foot is directly underneath where your hammock hangs. Keeping those hands up nice and high and those toes are faced forward. Heels are going to stay glued to the mat for this first part. We're going to lean forward here with that right knee, that bent knee, driving it forward to the wall in front of us. Start to slowly pulse that right knee forward. Now remember, we're keeping that left heel down on the mat. So if you find that it's creeping up, push it down. Come to that point where your body says, oh, I want to lift it. Stop there, and that's where we're going to gently press into. So reaching up high, we're going to do 5 pulses here, breathing in and out. Inhale, pulse, 2, 3, 4, and on this 5th one, we're going to press forward and hold. Now we're driving forward with that right bent knee, but we're also going to press down and forward with our pelvic bones and hip bones. So big breath here. As you exhale, gently push forward, keeping that standing heel down, and draw yourself back to center here. So now we're going to just keep those hands up nice and high, lift the heel on the standing foot, and lean forward once again with that right stag knee. Now, you can draw your hands down or your fists down closer to the crown of the head to help with your balance so you're not wobbling everywhere. Elbows bent and out nice and wide. And again, we have that left heel up now and our right knee is driving forward. Pelvic bone and hips helping drive that motion too. We're going to pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on this last one, hold and press forward. Remember, we're pushing forward here with the hips and knee. Inhale. Exhale. Let's bring that heel back down to the mat, coming back to center. We're going to take the hammock here now and trap the arch of our right foot. So bring the arch of your foot into the hammock here and reach up nice and high with both hands. This time we're going to turn our standing foot out at a diagonal so that we don't overextend our ankle here. So instead of keeping the toes forward, we want to keep our toes out towards the side wall or even the side corner of our room here. Again, we are under our center point for the hammock, reaching up nice and high, and again for the first part, keeping the standing heel glued to the mat. Extend that right trapped leg here. We're going to lean forward with that right foot. Big breath in and slowly pulsing. Making sure to drive forward with the pulses using that right foot and the hips and pelvic bone. 4, 2, and 1. Hold. Now what we're going to do here is as we hold, we're melting and pressing our hips down towards the mat. Big breath here, all that tightness you feel up the hamstrings and the back of the leg. Breathe into that. Big exhale as you release. and come back to center. Now for our next part, we're going to lift that standing heel. And if you start to find that you're wobbly, I'm going to show you a little hand placement that will help. So first, reach up high with both hands. We have our right leg trapped right now. Lift that standing left heel off of the ground and lean forward with that right leg. We're going to pulse now here. So to keep yourself from doing that big sway that can happen with this move, we want to keep same hand as the trap foot up nice and high, and bend and draw down the opposite arm with a bent elbow. So we have a little bit of tension on the opposite side. So we're going to go into our pulses for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Melt and hold here. Continue to gently press the right foot and hip bones forward and down for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come back to center. So we're going to now go ahead and switch sides. Drop that right foot down to the mat. And we're going to switch out with our left leg here. Once again, creating a little space with our hammock and trapping that left stag or bent knee. Reach up nice and high in the hammock. Let's hop forward with our standing foot underneath our center point. Toes forward on that standing foot, heel stays glued down. Big breath in, and as you exhale, lean forward. Stopping at that point where your heel wants to raise and staying here. Begin to pulse here, big breath in. As you exhale, pulse for 5, 4, 3. Remember, drive those hip bones and pelvic bones forward and down. 1, hold and press forward for 5, 4, 3, feel it all the way through that right standing hamstring, and 1. Come on back to center. Reaching up nice and high once again. We're going to lift that right standing leg or standing heel off of the mat rather, and press that left bent knee forward here. Start to pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold, pressing forward and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back to center. Let's go ahead and trap the arch of that left foot into the hammock now. Reaching up nice and high, turning those toes of the right or standing foot out now. Heel stays glued to the mat. Extend that left or trapped leg and lean forward. Breathing into any tension or tightness you may be feeling all behind and up your thighs and legs. Breathing into that here, let's pulse forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold. Big breath in, maybe draw your gaze back up forward or even a little higher towards the ceiling for 3, 2, and 1. Come on back to center. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and lift that right heel and start to lean forward with that left or trapped foot and find that balance. My left side is always the side where I have to find my balance before I start to create my pulses or holds. So I have a big bend on my right arm this time to balance out that left leg. I'm going to pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold here. Melt those hips down, pressing them gently towards the ground. Big inhale for 3, 2, and 1. Let's drop the heel down here. Bend that left or trapped leg and drop that foot back down. Let's go ahead, take a sip of water if you would like here. I am going to grab something myself. And now, I'm going to put this right here. We are going to get going into a little cat-cow. And this cat-cow is really just going to be to help us open up our chest, open up our spine, open up our hip, extend our tailbone, and once again, stretch through our legs, especially the back of the legs, the hamstrings here. So we're going to over-exaggerate our movements They're going to be very controlled, slow, controlled movements. We're going to do 3 sets of this cat-cow. First one, I'll talk, as usual, a little bit more so that you get the exact things that you should be feeling, and then we'll flow through the next 2. So standing here at your center point, grabbing onto the hammock here, separate your feet so that they're a little wider than hip distance apart. And I like to personally ground my feet heavy into the ground and lift all 10 toes, finding the points of my feet on the ground or on the mat and really making them heavy. Lifting the toes gives me a nice extra stretch through my hamstrings. So sometimes I add that in after I start to get a little bit more flexible. Just an option for you if you want to kick it up a little bit. So starting here, hands at center, let's separate our hands so they're a little wider than hip distance apart. And we're gonna bend at the hips here, keeping our legs nice and straight, hips stacked over ankles. As you roll forward, spine stays straight, bend forward, spine stays straight. Extend those arms out nice and long towards the room in front of you. Even open up those fingertips, extending and reaching with those fingertips to the room in front of you here. So now I would say is for you, go ahead and drop the crown of your head, or not drop, but keep it neutral at this point, gazing at the mat. So we want the crown of the head and our tailbone to be in one nice long straight line. We're gonna take a big breath here for our neutral spine. And as we exhale, we're gonna push down into the hammock with our hands. And when we push down, we're gonna drop that tailbone and curve the lower spine. So we went from a straight neutral spine to curving the lower spine, dropping the tailbone. And here we're gonna drop the crown of the head and like a cat, curve that top of the back and shoulders up towards the ceiling. Chin comes tight into our chest here. Big breath in for cat. And as you exhale, roll forward here, extending those fingertips back towards the room in front of you. Now we're gonna overextend that tailbone to the room behind us. So here, if those toes are up or even if they're not, go ahead and lean back into your heels and send that tailbone to the room behind you as you reach those fingertips forward. Now drop your chest heavy. So a big arch in that back here for cow. Bring your gaze forward and you can even bend the knees a little bit here if you'd like. Big breath for cow. And as you exhale, we're going to bend the knees a little further, drop the crown of the head forward, and bend our elbows, knock our knuckles and elbows behind our skull here for our mule position. Keeping the chest and belly heavy, take a big breath in here. And as you exhale, extend the arms, extend the legs, and we're going to go right back into a cat position. So big breath in. Exhale, drop the tailbone, chin to chest, drop the crown of the head and send those shoulder blades up nice and high as you press down into your hammock for cat back. Inhale and exhale, fold forward, extending those fingertips forward, sending that tailbone back, leaning back into your heels and dropping the chest heavy as you roll your gaze forward for cow. Inhale. As we exhale, we bend the knees a little bit further, drop the crown of the head forward, bend the elbows, knock the knuckles and elbows behind your head here for mule. Inhale, and as you exhale, really send that chest and belly heavy towards the mat with a nice arch in that lower back. Big breath in, and as you exhale now, extend the arms here, extend the legs, folding into neutral spine as we get ready for our last cat. Inhale, drop the tailbone, drop the crown of the head, chin to chest, press down into the hammock, shoulders up high, cat back. As you exhale, roll forward, send those fingertips forward, tailbone back, and drop the chest, roll the gaze forward. Slight bend in the knees for cow. Big inhale. And as you exhale, dropping the crown of the head, bending the knees, knock the knuckles behind you here, and press that chest heavy towards the mat. Big inhale for mule. Exhale, extend the knees, extend the arms, come back into that neutral spine. And slowly here, start to cat back all the way up. So as you cat back up, draw that hammock slowly in towards your belly or your body. And straightening the spine, rolling the shoulders back, and bringing the gaze forward. All right, you guys, we're going to go right into our exercises. Like I said, at any point in time, please rehydrate. Rehydrate. So we're going to kick things up for all of our reps from here on out. are going to be in sets of 5. So the first thing we're going to do to really warm up before our exercises and get that heart rate going is some spring ups. So we're going to use the hammock here to leverage up, almost like a tug up, but we're really going to be working on using the lower half of our body for this. So we're going to be springing up. We're going to use the glutes, use the thighs, use our calves, use all of the muscles we can here. When we jump, when we lift off of the mat, we want to do so with the spring in our legs. The hands on the hammock are simply a guide and a little lift, a little hoist, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the first set of what we're going to be doing, which is going to be our spring ups, and we're going to go out and in. And I'll show you what proper form for that one is before we get started. So standing behind the hammock here. Make sure there's not something I can answer there. Hi. Okay, so standing behind the hammock here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring those hands forward. So big open arms, bringing the hands forward, mitten hands here. So thumbs open, fingers together. We're going to back our hands up. So thumbs come in, fingers go out, and you're going to wrap your hands around the hammock here. You want your hands to be about maybe 8 to 12 inches above the crown of the head. You don't want to be all the way up here overextending, bending in those elbows, holding on nice and tight to your hammock. Go ahead and bring those bent elbows forward here so that they're like headlights towards the room in front of you. We don't want to have open arms in this one, okay, or open elbows. So now standing with our feet together here at center, we are going to start off with a bend in our knees. So our first set is going to go springing up and bringing our legs out like this, and bending instantly to spring up and bringing them back to center with a bend. That's one set. We're going to do 5. We're going to do them continual once we start. So let's go ahead and get in position. Remember, big open hands, back it up, thumbs inside, fingers outside, bend in the elbow and elbows forward. Bending those knees here, get those legs nice and activated. We're going to spring up here in 3, 2, 1. Bring them out and in, out and in. 4, 3, 2, in. Last one. All right, so from here we're going to keep the arms in position where they are, and we're going to go into our lunge switches. So we're starting off with our right leg forward, left leg back, same thing, bend in the knees, and I will give you an example of one set. Bend in the knees as we spring up, right leg forward, left leg back, bend, tug, left leg forward, right leg back. And from there, we're going to switch immediately into right, left, and so on. So we're going to do 5 continual sets here on the count of 3, starting with that right leg forward. In 3, 2, 1. Up, right, left, right, left, drop it down, right, nice bend. Don't forget that spring. 2. Last one. Whew. Let's bring it back to center. All right, grab a sip of water if you'd like. We're gonna go right into our squat series from here. So you can take a breath, kind of get ready in your hammock here. I'm gonna show you the first steps of what we're doing. Today, we're gonna do part 1 of our squat series, which is going to be maintaining on a flat foot. So standing behind the hammock as always in these, we're gonna grab onto the hammock. We are gonna create a bar or a stabilizing point here with our hammock. So we wanna have tension when we create that stabilizer or bar with our hammock. We don't wanna be holding on with loose material. We wanna have a nice taut hammock here between our hands. So pushing those hands out as far away from one another as they can. Also activating your arms, your triceps, all the way up through your shoulders and back here if you're really pushing out. So we don't want to have a soft back. We want a nice straight spine. Roll the shoulders back and let them drop down your back. As you press out with the hammock, you should, like I said, feel your shoulders, your back, and your arms activate. Standing with your legs wider than hip distance apart here. We don't want them way, way wide. We want to bring them so that When we bend our knees are stacked over our ankles here. So that's a good indicator of being in the right position for our flat squats here. Toes are going to be pointed out. And here, I'm going to show you we have 2 sets. We have a demi, and then we have a full. We're going to start off the first round with our demis. The demis are going to be bringing our bend down here to where our legs are still at a diagonal incline instead of being further down or parallel to the ground. We want to make sure to really keep nice tight glutes, thighs, where the back of the thighs meet the glutes, and calves, as well as that lower 360 core in order to lower into our squat position. From here, we want to make sure to hold all of those active muscles nice and tight. We're going to use a toaster analogy, meaning we don't want to have a sloppy spine. We don't want to have our glutes pointed out or falling down here. So I'm going to show you from the side an example. So we have our hips are in line with our body. We don't want to overextend our tailbone back. We want to slightly tuck the tailbone in, keeping the spine nice and straight, rolling the shoulders back and down. When we bend, knees go straight out over the toes so that the knees stack over the ankles or over the toes here, keeping that tailbone slightly tucked here. We want to have a nice, strong activation, okay? So that's going to go the same for our full squats. And for the full squats, we're going to bring it all the way down as close to, if not parallel, with our thighs as we can to the mat. And remember, these are progressive based, so as the weeks go on, you might find yourself lower and being able to hold further and longer, hopefully. So with that being said, one more key pointer before we get started in this squat series is remember we have all that activation going down. Like I said, it's just as important that as you come up, as you come out, you're using and squeezing all of those muscles to bring yourself back up and out. I want you to act like you have weights pulling you down, and you need to use every bit of energy in your muscles to bring yourself back up. Okay, so we're going to keep that thought in our head here. So starting off, we're going to go ahead, separate those legs nice and wide. Toes are pointing out. We're standing here underneath our center point, arms extended forward, and arms are stretched out so you have a nice wide base here. We're going to go ahead and we are going to start with our demis. We're going to go 5 down and ups, and they're nice and slow. So we're going to lower 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2, 3, 4. I'll start counting and then we'll just go from there. After that, we're going to lower into our demi and we're going to pulse from there for 5 seconds. We'll come back up, then lowering down and holding with everything activated for 5 seconds. And that will be our demi set. After that, we're going to immediately follow it with a full set of the same pattern. So we'll go down, up 5 times. We'll do a pulse for 5 seconds, and then we're going to do our hold for 5 seconds, okay? So let's go ahead here, separate those hands nice and wide, open up those palms and press down and out with the hands here. Spine straight, roll the shoulders back and down. Gentle tuck in the tailbone as you squeeze and engage those glutes, thighs, core here. Belly draws into spine, and on the count of 3, we're going to go ahead and start to lower into our demi for 3, 2, 1. Let's lower for 1, 2, 3, 4. Press up, 2, 3, 4, and down. And up, 2, 3, 4, down. Nice tight muscles here in the glutes, in the thighs, in the calves for 2. One more after this. Let's go up and demi down and up. Let's bring it back down to demi here and pulse. Small pulses, but intentional pulses here, using where the glutes meet the top of the thigh for the small movement. We don't want big pulses. We want small, little, micro, isometric movements here. 3, 2, and press up and back down to demi and hold. For this hold, I want you to tuck that tailbone, squeeze the glutes, Press the knees back here, engaging the sides of the glutes. You should feel this, and the tops of the glutes. Press those knees back. Keep the glutes engaged for 3, 2, and press up. We're going to now lower into our full. So coming all the way down into our full squat, as close to parallel as you can. Nice strong muscles as you press up against all that weight here. Let's lower it back down for 3, 2, 1, and up. 2, 3, for 3. Up, and 2, up. Remember, squeezing as we go up. Squeeze those glutes. And now bring it all the way down. Legs parallel, or thighs parallel here, and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press up. Bring it down. Find those thighs as parallel as you can and hold. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs, squeeze the calves, press the knees back, tuck the tailbone for 3, 2, 1. Press it up. Whew. We have one more set here. We're going to incorporate a little alternating motion. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our demis and our fulls and we're going to alternate them. For this, since we're introducing it, we're going to do a set of 3. So I'm going to show you what one full set looks like. Then we're going to do 3 together. We'll start off going into demi. We'll go full down and up, then full squat and up, then demi, then up, and so on. We'll do a set of 3 for that. After that, we'll go into demi, pulse, and full pulse, and we'll bring it up. Those will be for 3 counts. We'll do 3 sets of those. I'm sorry, those will be for 5 counts. We'll do 3 sets of those, and then same thing, demi and full hold, and we'll do 3 of those, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start together here on the count of 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it down, demi, and up. Full, and up. For 2, and up. Full, up. Last demi, demi, and up. Squeeze, full, and up. Now, demi and pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it down to full. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it up. And demi, pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it down to full. 4, 3, 2, 1. Press it up. Last set, girls. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I sure am sweating and shaking. Let's bring it to demi for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Full. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press it up. Last set. We have 3 more sets of this. We're going to go demi hold, full hold for 3. In 3, 2, 1. Bring it down for demi hold. Press the knees back, tuck the tailbone, engage the glutes and the thighs for 3, 2, 1. Bring it down to full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Press up, down to demi. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go down to full. I'm shaking, girls. I don't know if you are, but feel it, embrace it. Press those knees back, engage the glutes. 2, 1. Press up. Last set. Demi for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press it up. Shake it out. Take a breather. Whew, grab a sip of water here. Grab a sweat rag if you need it. I sure do. We are going to go take a minute break here. I'm going to set up And the lights don't make it any easier, but ooh, feels good. Pardon my breathing, but like I said, take a moment, get yourself a drink of water, relax, catch your breath. We're gonna go into our final exercise for tonight, which is our bridge series, part 1. I'm gonna move the camera here, so don't mind me as you take a moment. I'm gonna get it into position. Whew. My legs are feeling it, which is great. But boy, yay, I know. Oh, it's a good feeling. All right, so while you're finishing up catching your breath, maybe getting that water, whatever the case is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to kind of show you where we're going from here. We're going to go into our bridge series. So bridge series is going to be one of the main focuses of this month series for our building that lower half, and we're going to build on this series each week. Today we're starting with basics for class 1. We're going to go into our bridge pose, our high bridge pose, and our frog pose, our frog bridge pose. And with these, we're going to keep it simple today and really focus on, more than anything, getting familiar with the movements, the verbiage, and then we will work on building that activation, building the reps, and also adding on to it as we go through the weeks. So with that being said, we have a couple ways of getting in. I personally prefer to get in through a seated swing position because I like to get a little extra deep tissue massage, and any of my people, my girls, my women that have been with me know how delicious this can be, even if it doesn't feel like it today, because maybe we haven't done it in a while or ever. So bear with me here. You'll be loving this soon. If you don't want to get into the swing and lower yourself from the swing onto the ground, and you prefer or you feel more comfortable starting off on the ground, you most certainly can. And when we get to the ground position, I will show you how to simply enter in from there. So you can start along with me. You can watch however it is. I'm going to go ahead and get started though. So from here, I'm going to jump into my hammock, or I'm going to get into my hammock however I like to from swing. And I want to make sure that I'm sitting here right below my bum cheek, in my bum cheek crease where it meets the top of my thighs. And from here, I'm holding onto my hammock here just a little higher than, probably actually by the crown of my head if that helps, a little higher than my shoulders. And I'm just going to start to bicycle my legs here. So I don't want to bring my knees up too high at this point. I want to keep my knees just a little bit higher than parallel and really press my toes down to the mat here like I'm running in place. Already starting to feel all of that breakup here, that myofascial breakup, which is much needed, especially after months of what we've been going through, eh? So now, if you would like, you can pick up the pace. Either way, we'll go ahead and keep pedaling for 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and come back to stillness. Now, what we're going to do is slowly lower, and I'm going to show you how you can follow along. We will add to this and create more of this deep tissue massage again as the weeks come. But for today, we're just going to do a simple, nice little massage as we lower. So reaching up nice and high now. My arms are fully extended. My grip is nice and strong. I do not want my grip to be flimsy. Nice and strong here. So my feet stay together. Toes are pointed and weighted towards the ground. Knees are bent and locked together. I'm going to slowly start to drop my tailbone, my bum, down towards the mat. As I do that, I'm pressing my tailbone down, dragging the back of my thighs along that fabric, which feels amazing, and slowly lowering my hands down closer towards my knees. Now from here, we're going to keep it simple today. We're going to bring those hands down as close to the knees as we can. And for those of you that feel comfortable, you can tighten up that core and slowly start to lower the back of the shoulders onto the mat We want no plopping though. So if you don't feel comfortable with releasing your hands before a part of your body is touching the mat, please don't push it. Go ahead and hold on with one hand, take the other hand, bring it down to the mat, find your arm, your shoulder, your back, and slowly lower it onto the ground here. So I'm grounding myself here with my shoulders, my shoulder blades into the ground. My gaze is up towards the ceiling. Arms are gonna go out to the side here, palms are down. So I'm gonna keep my heels together, send my toes out wide in a V. This is my Charlie Chaplin or my Mary Poppins feet. And as I extend my legs, I'm gonna allow the hammock to just glide over my calves and catch on my ankles. From here, we're gonna lower our back down. I'm gonna take off my little mic pack, put it to the side, to this side. All right, so now here, as we're lowered, you wanna make sure that you push yourself so that your belly button is about around center to where your hammock is hanging, okay? So we're just a little bit past with our legs and a little bit forward with our head here. Now keeping those toes out nice and wide, heels are together, legs are straight. We wanna make sure that to start off, and I don't know if you can see from where you're at, but I'm gonna give a verbal description as well. To start off, we don't wanna have our starting position be with a curved spine. We want to have all of that activation, all of those muscles that we're gonna be using to be nice and engaged, right? So we're gonna go ahead and start off by softening that spine. And if you find that the spine or the back still is not resting on the ground, that is fine. We're gonna go ahead, gazes up towards the ceiling, take a big breath in, filling the lungs, filling the chest, filling the belly, breathe out. Release all that oxygen, release all that air. Feel your belly fall. Maybe feel your back fall further towards the ground. This time, we're gonna take in a big breath. And as you inhale, really big open chest, big open belly. As you exhale, I want you to blow out like you're blowing out birthday candles. Maybe not that over-exaggerated, but kind of like that. So as you blow out your birthday candles, you feel that your belly engages, it drops down, and your pelvic floor drops, and your back flattens to the ground, the spine flattens to the ground. That's what we want. So we want to make sure that we don't have a loosey-goosey back, our spine isn't curved, we're not able to stick fingers underneath. Instead, our back is nice and pressed to the mat, even if you want to envision that your spine, your vertebrae are imprinted on the ground below you. All right, it's enough talking about our starting position. I won't go into that anymore. Arms are gonna go out to the side. Before we get started, keep your eyes on the on the video here. I'm gonna show you the 3 positions we're gonna be doing today. We're going to be doing our bridge position. So for bridge, we're gonna take a nice, slow and engaged lift up. We wanna lift here as we start to bring our hips up in line with our legs and our spine. We want for our bridge position, for our body, from our shoulders, our shoulder blades to our heels to be in one nice straight line. So at this point, we don't want hips all the way up to the ceiling, and we don't want a slumpy bump. Slumpy butt. We want to have a nice straight line here. And so what you want to make sure is that your glutes are engaged. Where your glutes meet your thighs, you have a nice tight engagement here on the sides of your glutes, the tops of the glutes here, the lower back, that lower core, and your lower belly, lower core here, even the tops of your thighs. So all of this has a nice strong engagement. As you lower too, we don't want to drop down. We want to keep all of this engaged, really lowering one vertebrae at a time to the mat. And that's why we're going to take our 4 seconds until our hips hit the ground. And we'll do up and down will be 1 set. Okay. Now our next one is going to be our high bridge. So from here, we're going to bring it all the way through our bridge, pushing those hips up as high as we can towards the ceiling. Hip bones go all the way up. Big squeeze in the glutes here. So here we have full engagement. We are pressing up as hard or as high as we can towards the ceiling at this point. And then same thing though, when we lower, we keep all of that engagement and we go 1 vertebrae at a time until those hips hit the ground. Up and down will be a full set of high bridge. Our final form for today, or exercise for today, will be frog. So we're going to bring it up to our bridge position for frog. And keeping those toes out, heels together, we bend the knees out nice and wide and draw the heels in towards the body. So this is our frog pose. As we're in frog, we're pressing those knees down and pushing those hips up, getting a nice strong engagement here in the glutes. When we push our legs back out to extend, we want to pretend like we're in a big thick bowl of honey or quicksand or something where you really have to press those feet and heels. You're engaging the calves, you're engaging the thighs, you're engaging the glutes, you're pushing through that thickness to extend your legs. In and out is going to be one full set, okay? So those are the 3 that we're going to work on today. We're going to do a set of 5 for each, all right? So let's go ahead. Arms are going to go out to the side. We're going to make sure heels are together, toes are out, legs are extended. Starting off with a big breath in. Let's get ready to blow out those birthday candles. On the count of 3, we're going to go ahead and raise up into bridge in a 4 count. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to go up, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down, 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. And down, 2, 3, 4. Up, remember, engagement through the glutes, the core, the back, and down, 2, 3. 2 more. Up, 2, 3, 4. Keep that engagement as you go down, dropping each vertebrae 1 at a time. Last set, up, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go all the way up to high bridge. So past that bridge, press those hip bones up towards the ceiling, engage the glutes, engage the thighs, bring it down, 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. 3 more. Up, 2, 3, 4, down. 2 more sets. Bring it all the way up through bridge. Press those hips up, squeeze the glutes, bring it back down nice and slow. 1 more set, all the way up, 2, 3, 4, squeeze, down, 2, 3, 4. All right, last exercise here. Let's bring it up to our bridge, keeping those toes out, knees bent out nice and wide, heels together. Draw those heels in towards the body, press the knees down, push the hips up, and press those heels out slowly with engagement, extending your legs. Bring it in, 2, 3, 4. Push knees down, hips up, and push out, 2, 3, 4. 3 more, 2, 3, 4. Press up, push out, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. Bring it in, 2, 3, 4. Push out, 2, 3, 4. Last one, let's make it count. Bring those heels in, knees out, press those knees down, push those glutes up, push those heels out, nice, slow, and controlled, and slowly 1 vertebrae at a time. Start to lower that back. Hips to the mat. Release the feet when you're ready, maybe 1 at a time or both. Let's bend our knees into our chest. Go ahead and grab onto your shins, wrap those arms around, hug your knees into your chest, circle out your ankles, wiggle out your toes. Take some breaths here. Maybe rub out those shins. Do not be surprised if you feel it more than anything, or you feel like you feel it more than anything in your shins right now. This just means that we have lots of muscle to grow here in our thighs, in our core, in our glutes, and that's why we're here. Go ahead and take yourself a breather if you still need. I'm going to get up and start to talk a little bit before, or as we start to round things out here, or end things. So that does bring us to the end here. We're going to go ahead and get in and do a little bit of a cocoon because I feel we deserve it. I feel we deserve a nice wind down. So you can join me in this cocoon here. Or if you are done and you want to leave it on that high energy note, absolutely feel free. You can check in later. I'm just going to give a little goodbye after this, and all notes will go onto an update later for you. And I will be on right after the live to answer any questions that you have. Of course, any messages you send, anything like that. So with that being said, let's go ahead, get into your hammock, sit at the front edge or the edge of your hammock, grab onto that material, wave it out, open it up, gather your hammock so you're about halfway through the material, and scoop your body into your fabric. Let's go ahead now. Bring our arms up above our head and back through the back side of the hammock. Find the back edge of the material with both hands here. And take that hammock, bring it high above your head. As you bring it high above the head, start to lower your back down. Keep those arms extended high above your head. Arms are extended, pointer finger and pincher, or pointer finger and thumb, so pincher fingers are holding on to that top edge of the hammock here. And we're going to go ahead and bend one knee, bring the heel inside, extend the legs out nice and long inside of your material. So we're going to do one little activated stretch before we wiggle it out and take a few moments to just rest. So holding on to the top edge of the hammock here with those pincher fingers, body is in one nice long straight line, belly is up towards the ceiling. I want you to close your eyes and dive deep into your body with your breath here. So we're going to start off taking a nice big inhale through our nose, allowing that fresh breath to go down through our throat into our lungs, filling up our chest, feeling the rib cage expand, feeling your back press into the hammock as the fabric hugs around your sides. Feeling those inhales fill up your feeling those inhales fill up your belly with fresh air. Maybe you feel your belly fill and fall as that lower back and spine imprints into the hammock here. Allowing the thighs to melt, allowing the shins to melt, the calves to melt, the heels to melt, the toes to melt. And again, that fabric just wraps around your body here. We're going to take another big breath in, and as you exhale here this time, we're going to draw the breath actually in through our body and settle the breath into our belly button. As you exhale, I want you to extend from your belly button all the way up through your spine, imagining that each and every vertebrae starts to extend and open up space in between the next. As that reach starts to follow up through the shoulder blades, through the shoulders, over the arms, through the elbows, out through the fingertips as you reach those fingers to your back wall here. We're going to take another big breath in and draw that breath down to the belly button once again. As you keep reaching with the top of the body, I want you to extend now from the belly button down, over the belly, through the hips, past the thighs, over the knees, through the calves, and down through the toes. Starting to reach your toes towards the wall in front of you here, so your body is being pulled almost from your belly button out through your fingers and your toes. Big, big stretch here. And as you exhale, I want you to settle into softness. Allow all the muscles in the body to be soft. Start to feel the bones become heavy. Slowly start to bend at your obliques or your sides, swaying your arms and legs in one direction and then the next. Start to allow those sways to get a little larger each time, allowing the momentum to swing the hammock further back and forth. As you create the largest swings or sways you can here, slowly start to allow stillness to take over your body once again. And allow the hammock to organically find its way back to a stop or a still point. Not forcing this, just allowing it to naturally happen here. Continue with those big, full inhales and exhales. I want to thank you for spending this time with me and for sharing the space with me, for showing up, for being here, for supporting. I appreciate you all. I'm really excited about moving forward in this series, having this time together in our own space. We're going to start to awaken our bodies with slow movements as you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, starting to sway back and forth in the hammock once again, opening up the eyes, deepening the breath. When you are ready, reach your hands up high to find the back edge of the hammock here, grabbing onto the back edge of your material, holding yourself as you tug yourself up to a seated pose, walking your feet out the front of your hammock here, and pulling yourself up to a seated position. I'm putting my microphone back in place. And coming over. Thank you guys so much. We are at the end of our class for today, for class number 1. I so appreciate you, like I said, for being here. I'm going to go ahead now and stop the live so I can have the recording stop here and post that to the page. But then I'm going to jump onto Facebook Live. So if you have any questions, like I said, you know how to get a hold of me. DM me, Instagram, Facebook, email me, whatever the case is. Comment, do whatever you need, and I am here to answer questions, to help. I will be starting to post little tips and little updates throughout the week as I get used to this format of Facebook and get everything set up. I appreciate you all, and I will see you and talk to you soon. Thank you.